Imagine winning back-to-back Formula One championships. Imagine finally ending a drought that stretched nearly 3 decades for the constructors' title, and almost 2 decades for the drivers. Imagine doing all of that with a team that, just a few years earlier, was struggling to be relevant in the midfield. Now imagine that the architect of that entire transformation, the man behind every strategic decision, every cultural shift, every hard-won point, is already heading for the exit. That is the situation at McLaren right now. And if you thought the Woking outfit would simply sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor, think again. Because the story unfolding behind the scenes of Formula One's most dominant team is not one of celebration. It is one of calculated, ruthless, forward-thinking succession planning. And it tells us everything about the brutal nature of this sport at the very highest level. To understand why this matters so deeply, we need to rewind to December 2022. Andrea Stella had just departed McLaren to lead Audi's Formula One project, leaving a significant leadership void at a team still searching for its identity. Into that void stepped Andrea Stella, a quiet, methodical Italian engineer whose reputation had been built across years of meticulous work at Ferrari and then McLaren, where he served in a technical capacity before ascending to the principal's chair. On paper, it looked like a safe internal promotion, but in reality, what followed was one of the most remarkable team principal tenures in the modern era. Working alongside CEO Zak Brown, Stella transformed McLaren's culture, their car development philosophy, and ultimately their results. McLaren won the Constructors' Championship in 2024, their first since 1998. Then in 2025, they didn't just defend it. They smashed Red Bull's record for winning the title with the most rounds remaining. Lando Norris claimed the Drivers' Championship that same year, McLaren's first since 2008. Back-to-back titles. A dynasty seemingly in the making. And yet, here we are. The key detail here is that the biggest transfers in Formula One rarely happen in the open. They happen in quiet conversations, in pre-contracts signed months before any public announcement, in the careful choreography of a sport where loyalty and ambition are always in delicate tension. What F1 reporter Jackie Martins has now revealed blows that illusion wide open. According to Martins, Andrea Stella has already signed a pre-contract with Ferrari. Not rumored, not speculated, already signed. The move is described as very hot, language that in paddock circles carries enormous weight. This is not a flirtation. This is a done deal in all but official announcement. This suggests that McLaren's leadership knew, perhaps well before the public did, that the Stella era was drawing to a close. And rather than wait or react, they went hunting, aggressively, decisively, straight to the heart of their fiercest rival. Enter Gianpiero Lambiase. If you follow Formula One, you know that name. You have heard his voice, calm, measured, occasionally firm, cutting through race day chaos to reach Max Verstappen in the cockpit. As Red Bull's head of racing and Verstappen's long-serving race engineer, Lambiase has been one of the most consequential figures in the sport's most dominant era. A working relationship built over nearly a decade, forged through 4 consecutive drivers' championships. On paper, Lambiase seemed untouchable, the kind of figure so embedded in a team's fabric that his departure would feel unthinkable. But in reality, McLaren have done exactly what great sporting organizations do when they identify rare talent. They made the call, made the offer, and Lambiase has agreed to join McLaren as their new team principal from the 2028 season. Red Bull are holding Lambiase to his contract through the end of 2027, after which comes a gardening leave period before he formally transitions to Woking. McLaren are willing to wait, and that patience itself speaks volumes about how seriously they are taking this appointment. Now, the Ferrari angle, Because it adds another layer of complexity to this story. Stella is not heading to just any team. He is returning to Maranello, where his Formula One career began in 2000 and where he spent 14 formative years. During that time, he served as performance engineer for Michael Schumacher across all 5 of his Ferrari titles, and later for Kimi Räikkönen, who delivered the Scuderia's last Drivers' Championship in 2007. Ferrari have not won a driver's title since. The Constructors' crown has also eluded them since 2008. This suggests Stella's return is not simply a hire, it is a statement of intent. Ferrari are repatriating an engineer who understands their DNA, who lived through their golden era, and who has since proven at McLaren that he knows how to build a winning machine from the ground up. But this raises an uncomfortable question about Fred Vasseur. Reports from December suggested Ferrari gave him just the first 5 races of 2026 to save his position. The early results have been encouraging. Podium finishes in each of the first 3 Grand Prix. On paper, his job looks more secure than it did months ago. But in reality, if Stella is already signed as a successor in waiting, Vasseur's future in Maranello takes on a far more uncertain complexion. There is one more thread that refuses to be ignored, and it reveals something important about how Zak Brown operates. Cast your mind back to the 2024 Austrian Grand Prix, the race that became infamous for the collision between Verstappen and Norris as they fought for the lead. Brown felt a sense of disappointment, not directed at Verstappen, whose aggression is a known quantity, but at Lambiase himself. Brown believed Lambiase should have done more from the pit wall to calm his driver, to de-escalate a situation where the warning signs had been clearly visible. Brown felt Red Bull showed a fundamental lack of respect in how the moment was handled. The key detail here is that Brown moved forward with Lambiase's recruitment despite that disappointment. That tells you he sees in the British-Italian engineer something that transcends a single afternoon in Spielberg. He sees a leader capable of growing into the biggest job in the paddock, one that demands far more than managing a driver's emotions over the radio. Step back and look at what this entire sequence of events reveals about Formula One in 2026. Ferrari are reaching back into their own history to find the man they believe can restore past glories. McLaren are already planning beyond their greatest recent success, and Red Bull are watching their most important operational figure prepare his departure for a direct rival. This is the sport at its most fascinating. Not on the track, not in the lap times, but in the shadowy, chess-like movement of the human beings who make it all possible. McLaren won everything there was to win, and their response was to immediately start building the next era. That is not the behavior of a team content to rest. That is the behavior of an organization that genuinely believes the best is still ahead. So here is what I want to leave you with. If Gianpiero Lambiase, the calm, strategic voice behind the most dominant driver of his generation, now steps into the biggest leadership role in the most successful team on the grid, does that make McLaren stronger than ever? Or does the leap from pit wall to principal's office represent the kind of challenge that even the most gifted minds in this sport sometimes cannot clear? Drop your answer in the comments, because this story is only just getting started.